again to talk about something that is kind of either to do with tarot or astrology. Every week we come up with an entirely different topic. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us. I am Mandy, also known as Mandy on the Moon, and I am based in Cambridge, UK.
I'm Sharon, also known as Tarot Squirrel, and I am in the United States in the state of Georgia.
And who's this handsome young man?
I'm Kevin, cardcaster Kevin, from the United States in Florida.
Marvelous. Right, Sharon.
All right, so today, folks, we're going to be talking about, wait a minute. What were we going to talk about? I can't remember. Hold on, I'll get it. Was it squirrels? Was it?
No, you changed your mind on that one, Sharon.
Oh, yeah, I changed my, mutable energy?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But before we get to the mutable energy, and some people are going to be thinking, what are they talking about? What is mutable energy? Well, you'll know by the end of this podcast. Just to let you know, we do have like events going on all the time. I know that Kevin is going to kind of like enlighten everybody about all the things that we do. So we have all sorts of things going on. A lot of them are interactive that you can come along, join in with. And also, just to say that last week, Cynthia won our competition for our newsletter subscribers. So we're going to run the competition again this month. So all you have to do, if you would like to be included in this month's monthly draw, is head on over to www.thepomegranate.com. Sign up for the free newsletter. There's a newsletter every week and it tells you, what's going on, what you can join in with, what you can watch, all of that sort of thing. So just sign up for the newsletter and your name will be included in the monthly draw. And the prize was and is free entry to any one of our kind of usually paid for events. There's, what are there, 8 a month, I think, about
8
or 9 a month. But not only will you gain free entry to the event of your choice, but you can bring a friend along as well. So it's well worth winning. That's it. I'm going to hand over to Sharon and we are going to talk about mutable energy.
Okay then. All right, so mutable energy is an astrological energy. So we're mostly talking about astrology today, but you can see it in the tarot cards if you know your tarot cards really well. So mutable energy is the ending of something. You can never forget that. It's like cardinal is beginning, fixed is the middle, and mutable is the end. Mutable is the end, when things change, and mutable is very reactionary. It's not like cardinal where it acts on something on its own. It reacts and changes. So it can be very indecisive. It's usually a lot of fun, but it can also drive us fixed ones batshit crazy. So there's a lot to it, Mandy.
Yeah. I mean, there are, everybody is aware of the 4 elements, fire, earth, air, and water. And all of the signs in the zodiac will be fire, earth, air, and water. And within each of those elements, each one of those elements has one sign that is the mutable version of that element. So for example, there is a mutable fire, a mutable earth, a mutable air, and a mutable water sign. So right now, the reason we're talking about this today is right now on this date, which is the 31st of May, we've just had the new moon in Gemini, and Gemini is the mutable air sign. So we're not particularly focusing this podcast on Gemini, but we'll give it a bit of recognition because it's having a new moon today. And as it happens, both Sharon and I and Cassidy, who can't be here because she's on holiday, we are all Gemini moons. So we do have a bit of a personal understanding about that mutable energy. Now, with all of the signs, you can't say that any energy is better than any other energy, or any energy is entirely good or entirely bad. There's a lot of things to take into consideration. But on talking about the mutable, what would you say? I'm going to take this over to Kevin. What would you say are positive things about a mutable energy?
Adaptability. That's a big one. I go straight to Virgos. Well, Virgos are the responsible ones to me. The ones who are the adaptability, the details, stuff like that, that I can say putting things together. And they're the ones who I see more of the finishing things. Whereas the Sagittarius ones are the ones that are like all over the place. Like they're the ones that I think kind of can be more annoying to those of us who have some fixed and cardinal energy. Sorry, Sagittarii. But and then the what's the other one? I forgot. But anyway, so it's just, yeah, they each kind of have their own energy to them. But so the positives would be the organization, that kind of stuff. Fun, like Sharon said, because they're like, especially the Geminis, they're the sociable, the ones who are all over the place and around the place, stuff like that. They're the kind of people who probably go in and out of different crowds and stuff. Does that sound good?
Yes,
I agree with everything except for the organization. That is a Virgo thing. Virgos are crazy, strange animals. By the way, Virgo is mutable earth. Sagittarius is mutable fire. I'm letting the viewers know. Pisces is mutable water. Virgos are very detail oriented. They're very organized. They do finish things. That's a mutability all on its own, and it's an obsessiveness. It's a reaction to making sure things are done. Whereas Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces energy on its own, without other factors to rein it in, would never finish a damn thing, because they'd see something else and go, whoa. An organization, if you don't have something in your chart or in your life that can keep you pinned down, it's like, I can't tell you how many organization books I bought. Those little panda planners, every single one of them is filled out for a week. Hello. And then I buy a new one because I already used this one. A year goes by, I need a panda planner. I got like 6 of them for 6 years.
I mean, my Gemini moon, I would say, is responsible for me, on the one hand, being open-minded, which I'm really pleased about, because I have quite a bit of fixed energy in my chart, and it does balance that out somewhat. I'm not totally, sometimes I can change my mind about something, and I think that's thanks to the fact that I have got the Gemini moon. Otherwise, I would be in trouble with the amount of fixed energy that I've got. I would be really, really stuck. But anyway, yeah, I do things like, I'm in the middle of something. I literally am in the middle of something, and then suddenly I find myself doing something entirely different. It's very easy to distract me, and it's like, hang on a minute ago I was doing that. How comes I'm now over here doing this? And because it's my moon that's in Gemini, I've just done it without even thinking about it. I've just done it instinctively. So I can be a little bit like a butterfly, you know?
I was at the grocery store once. I remember because this lady busted out laughing because I said this out loud. I do grocery shopping very methodically, very fixed. I even write my list aisle by aisle. I have to know my grocery store. And I forgot to put something on my list, and I was all the way at the end. And I remembered that I had forgotten something on my list. So I got the thing I had forgotten, and then I stood there and it's like, what was I doing? What was I doing? And I said, well, shit, now I've forgotten what I remembered when I remembered what I forgot. And and this lady just busted out laughing. But that's mutable energy. You forget, you can be on a total mission. Oh, there's something else, and just off going after it.
Yes.
Oh my God, it's very frustrating. And as Gemini moons, it's very strong.
Well, I think with the moon thing, you just find you're doing it without even kind of making a decision to do it. It's just suddenly there you are doing something entirely different. And like, I could be driving And literally, it's like I've turned down the road and it's like, what am I doing in this road? Right. Yeah, you know, I was on a motorway a minute ago. How comes I've just turned off? You know, so something's kind of pulled me in certain directions. And I do think that is mutable energy.
That is definite. And
I mean, I do find if somebody maybe has a lot of mutable energy, like I have a lot of fixed, they can be unreliable. I'm sorry to say it. They can be unreliable. I mean, like everything, what we all really want is a perfect balance, a little bit of everything, you know, because they all can be good. But oh my God, you know, when you have perhaps a week and everybody that you're surrounded by clearly has an abundance of mutable energy and just people keep messing you about, keep letting you down, you know, keep changing their minds, all of that sort of thing. It's actually really, really annoying and really irritating.
yeah,
I swear that a lot of these contracts that, you know, we have to fill in for one thing or another are created because of the danger of somebody with mutable energy
yeah.
wanting this particular service or something, and something has to kind of like focus them and tie them into something.
I think what happens with that is they don't mean to be unreliable, obviously, but somebody says they need something or they're doing something, and mutable energy automatically wants to help. It's friendly, you
Yes,
know, it's reactionary. So it makes these promises and then promptly forgets about them or makes other promises so that they can't keep all their promises they made. Now, Virgo, again, completely different animal. I think a Virgo would die before they broke a promise. I really and truly do. And I believe that that's because it is bound to earth. And earth is all about common sense and consideration and stability. So Virgo, mutable energy, is terribly conflicted inwardly. It has a really rough time because mutable energy needs to have the freedom to look at things from every direction and to go all over the place. And that earth just ties its feet down. But a Virgo, any Virgo I've known will die before they break a promise.
I
And I think
can't
it's the
say that
earth.
I've had the same experience of Virgos, but yeah, I mean, I just think it's I mean, at the you can't take anything in isolation, can you?
No,
You have
yeah,
to
you
kind of
really can't.
yeah, you have to kind of look at the whole sort of picture. But I know someone who is very Virgo, and when I say that, what I mean is they've got a lot of things in Virgo. It's not just the sun in Virgo. They've almost got like too much Virgo going on, and I have found them to be quite unreliable.
And they probably work themselves to death and then can't do anything. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Or they make so many promises that they just, yeah.
If they meant them at the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh
Oh
yes,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think all the mutable energy does. But some of it just goes tra-la-la-ing off into the distance, and some of it just, you
But
know, like,
I do actually think though, life is, you know, if you actually think about the universe, the planets are moving, everything up there is moving all the time, nothing is standing still. You know, they've all got their own speed that they move at, so some of them might look like they're standing still, but you know, the rising sign changes every 2 hours, the moon is every 2.5 days, Mercury's every 2.5 3 weeks, whatever, and then you'll get to Saturn that's sort of 27 years to do its orbit, and then even beyond. But everything is on the move all the time, and how it relates to each other is constantly changing. We don't live in a kind of like a situation where everything just stands still. We have to be adaptable to kind of like
yes.
what's either coming or going, you know, and that is where mutable energy is a gift, because it will adjust, you know, to change. And if you get somebody who is so fixed in their views and in their ways that any kind of form of change is either sort of terrifying, or it's kind of like really depressing for them or difficult for them. That's hard, you know. So mutable energies is necessary.
Yeah, I think that the fixed energy is the energy that will stay in a horrendous situation and be so afraid of change. And I think most people, you know, do have a bit of that fixed energy where they're like, you know, even when it's a good change, they resist it. You know, I can't do that. There's a reason I can't do that. Where if you have an abundance of mutable energy, I just, the adaptability. Growing up as a military brat, my daddy was Army. So we moved every 2 to 3 years, mostly usually new people.
Right.
We'd go all over the place. And my sister and my brother's a Scorpio and my sister is a Capricorn. They had hell when we moved. They'd cry and they'd carry on and they'd be mad for a full year before they integrated to the new place, and I'd be like, yeah, see ya, let's go. You know, it
Right.
was always an adventure. And if I didn't have that Gemini moon, I imagine it would have been more difficult for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we do a lot of relationship readings. It just is the nature of the thing that we do. And do you find there are quite a lot of people who are terrified to be on their own? They would like rather stay in a bad relationship than risk being on their own. And it's like they would only be willing to kind of get out of their relationship if they knew there was someone else waiting in the wings to sort of like take over. And
Yeah.
actually, it's not fair to relate that to tarot. Like the dog. Even like before I knew anything about tarot, I mean, it was kind of a normal mindset that people who are in relationships don't really want to get out of them unless they've got somebody else to kind of like be with. It's hard to actually just get out of it and be on your own for a lot of people. I think that's not everybody, but that's a fact of life. And
Yeah.
I feel that those people that do have the mutable energy in the right places in their charts probably would be the people that wouldn't put up with the kind of the relationship that's not working, and would be quite happy to just think, oh, I'll be on my own until someone else comes along, and are more likely to be kind of cool about it.
Yeah.
So in some ways, I think it's quite a healthy thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mutability could be pure annoying to fix people and even sometimes cardinal people. But I think it's so necessary to have, especially like you said earlier, life, man, it throws some punches, changes on a dime for no reason that you had to do with it. You know, shit happens that has nothing to do with you that changes your life.
Yeah.
And if you can't adapt to that or meet it, you're lost. You can't carry on. You cannot move forward. So, and I another thing I love about mutability, and it's just got this innate curiosity. All the mutable signs are so curious about everything and not just one aspect of it. They get to look at all the different sides. They don't just look at one side of it and say, okay, I understand it now and I like it or I don't like it. They were like, but what about this side? And what about this side? What about this facet? Well, what does this mean? You know, they really look at everything completely and it really quick. That curiosity just going on. Yeah.
Would you say that of the three energies, cardinal, fixed, and mutable, just talking about that, mutable is the most exhausting of the three?
Yes. No. Maybe. I don't know. Cardinal.
That was pretty mutable.
It wasn't. Cardinal can be very exhausting because they're always trying to get you to get up and move. Cardinal, mutable, at least you can say, oh, hell no, I need to take a break. And they'll be like, okay, let's take a break. Cardinal will be like, no, go, 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 go. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it's like anything. It really comes down to how mutable,
Yeah.
and in what sense mutable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I definitely kind of like see why Sagittarius, which is the mutable fire sign, can be kind of related to sort of being adventurous and exploring and all of that sort of thing, and expanding your horizons, and and kind of wanting to know more, this sort of like hunger for trying new things, all of that kind of thing. And I just think I actually find that I can really see the positive in that, because I think life, if you put it another way, if you were an alien, right, and you landed here on this planet, would you just land and sort of think, oh, this is it? No, you'd want to explore it all. You'd absolutely, you wouldn't sort of think, oh, this is nice. Oh, I'm just going to stay here forever now. Knowing that there's all these other there's mountains and beaches and jungles and deserts. Would you stay put? Not in a million years.
No.
Go and explore it all. And I think we almost have a duty as a human being. We're only here for a sort of like short spot of time, really, in the grand scheme of things. We should try and sort of like treat it like we're aliens and explore this amazing planet.
Like, how many people in New York have never seen the Statue of Liberty type of thing, right? And okay, so I know I was talking earlier, and I know we can't go too deep into this because it could be another podcast on its own, but a lot of my students get confused between cardinal and mutable, and like with the exploration, and that exploration, that need to know, is a reaction to the curiosity. It's not always a reaction to other people. It's a reaction to the environment around you. It's a reaction to our constant thoughts. What about this? What about this? What about this? It's and cardinal just sees something and says, oh, I want to do that, or thinks things on its own, like cardinal is what makes things happen and creates. Mutable follows. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And I know my mutability, curiosity. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I feel mutable comes from something, doesn't it? It's come from whatever the fixed is. So it's the transition, it's the change, it's the ending of it. It's, it's kind of, it hasn't just come out of nowhere, the mutable energy, whereas the cardinal energy has, that it's the cardinal that springs it into existence.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick? There's something that we did before we had the podcast. We were talking about me setting up a thing about decks that I can read with, and I said my cardinal energy makes me want to just read with different decks all the time. And then Sharon at first was like, that's kind of mutable, and it is. If I'm like, I just can't make a decision, and that's part of it. But the other part of it that was cardinal about it was that I just like to have newness. I think that helps me understand, like cardinal is newness, whereas the mutability is responding to what do you want the deck to be, rather than me making the decision. Does that make sense? Is that about right?
Yeah, that was beautiful. And that's another good point, that mutability, a bad part of mutability is it can be terribly indecisive because it sees all sides.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just the indecision in mutability can be overwhelming. I had a friend a long time ago. She was a Pisces, and she had a lot of Pisces in her chart. Didn't know it at the time, but I know that now. And we would go to lunch once a week. And she would always say, where do you want to go to lunch? And I would say, it's your turn to pick. No, I don't want to pick. So I'd pick, and the entire time we were having lunch, I hate this place. I don't like this. And I'd pick somewhere different every time. But if she freaking hated it every time, I finally was like, you pick. And she couldn't do it. She could not do it. It drove me crazier.
I've got to say, when I go out to eat, and I love eating, right? So that I will probably enjoy most food, whatever I chose. But I find it so hard to choose, right? I find it so hard to choose that I have to kind of like go with my fixed energy. I have to kind of think, when I go there, I know I'm going to have that. I'm not even going to kind of put myself through the agony of having all that choice, and can feel the mutability just going absolutely berserk. Like, I want that and I want that. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe oh my God, it can just take forever.
That's why you want that beautiful blend, so you can use that fixed energy to harness that agony.
Yeah. Yeah.
My husband has that, interestingly enough. He's got Gemini moon, Virgo rising, so he's got two mutable, but the Virgo's grounded, and then he's a Taurus sun, so he's really grounded, but you can see his mutability. But it's amazing, that combination, having those two earth signs, what it's done for him. It's really helped him be successful. But you can see, I see that mutability in him. I didn't realize, I forgot the Virgo was, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got the disadvantage as well of having my two most horrible planets, Saturn and Mars, both in Sagittarius. Right?
Oh, yay!
Destructive, yeah. Opposite my Gemini moon, so pulling against it. So,
That's so odd, though.
if I'm having a bad mutable day, I'm all over the place. Yeah, it's
okay. That makes sense, because I'm thinking you're really the driving force in the Pomegranate Grove, the one that cracks the whips and says, "Do it, get it done." Right? Shit wouldn't get done if Mandy didn't make us do it. I'm telling you, we'd all just be playing all the time, especially me and Khaled. we like to play. So Mandy's the one who says, no, back to focus. But I have seen you on days where you're like, oh my God, I can't get anything straight today. So yeah.
And I would have to analyze it to be 100% sure, but I'm guessing it's when the moon in the sky is possibly squaring my mutable signs. I would imagine that when the moon is in, like, say, Pisces, or the moon is in Virgo, I'm guessing they would be my most difficult days.
Okay, that's a project, because the next time it happens, when you go in a meeting, we're looking up the moon.
Yeah. Because it's like a trigger, and it's like literally like today I just can't do it, not today, it's a very, very sort of strong resistance to sort of focusing on anything that I do have that sometimes. Yeah.
It almost has to be the moon, because it's usually when you and I have to do something together that takes brain power, it usually the both of us that say, I can't do it today. That's so weird.
We do have days, and I mean, it's really weird. When you absolutely have to do something, if I absolutely have to do it, it's like hideous, but I will still do it because I am a very reliable person. Do you know what I mean? But if I don't have to, and it would just be good to get it out the way. But if it's like, yeah, I can't do it today. Just can't, not today. If I don't have to, and I've got one of those days, then I won't.
So you've got all that mutable energy going on, but your reliability, that Taurus ascendant, really pulls it in. That pulls it together, and the Aquarius.
And Venus, and the sun is in Aquarius, and Jupiter in Scorpio.
Okay. As I've got Venus in Virgo. I do have Venus in Virgo. And yes, I was a player. No. And Venus in Virgo and Gemini moon. But I do have the Leo sun, which is much less reliable than Aquarius sun.
Well, yes, because I'm in the house of Saturn, aren't I? So
yeah. I'm not quite as reliable, which we know. But I do show up when I can, and I don't.
You show up. You're pretty reliable. You are.
I don't know.
You're not as reliable as me. I don't
Not
mean that
even close.
in a competitive way, but I would say that you're not, but I wouldn't call you an unreliable person, Sharon.
No, I prefer to finish my projects,
Hmm.
but I do procrastinate and I do better when I'm in at the crunch. If it's the last minute, that's when I do my best work. But
Right.
yeah, if I've got 3 weeks to do it, it's going to get done the day it's due.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. 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 Well, Kevin, have you got mutable energy? Just remind me.
Only one, I think. I've got just my Venus is in Sagittarius. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Everything else I've got 6 in Libra, my rising's Aries, so 2 big cardinals, and then my fixed is Taurus, and my moon, and my Leo is but my Mars is Leo. So yeah, the only one I have is Venus and Sagittarius. What does that mean?
Here's the thing. I think if you're going to go back to traditional astrology, so you go right, so 2,000 years, right? You've only got your 7, haven't you? Your 7 planets, including
and your ascendant.
And your ascendant. So you've got 8 altogether, right? So if you're going to be kind of like balanced, so you are just this perfectly balanced human being, you'd be kind of like, I suppose, hoping for about roughly 2 things in each energy, 2 to 3 in each.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, I'm thinking, and I could probably cut this out, but so I got cardinal ascendant. I think that's my only, no, cardinal Saturn. And I have fixed Sun, fixed Jupiter, fixed Mars.
Okay, so that's 5 out of the 8.
Yep. And then mutable moon and mutable Venus. Who am I missing? Mercury, cardinal.
So you've got a bit of everything. You're quite well balanced, really.
Tell my husband that.
Kevin, you've got all that cardinal, haven't you? Because you've got
I'm pretty off balance. Yeah.
And then you've got
2 fixed and 2 one cardinal is ascendant. Then you've got moon is fixed. Then you've got Mars is fixed. Then you've got Venus is mutable, and then the rest are all a Libra. So lots of cardinal.
More cardinal than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But man, you do cardinal in a beautiful way.
Oh, yeah, you really do use it. You really go for it.
Yeah, you're. Oh man.
As long as you kind of then use your fixed energy to kind of not just get something started and then just leave it hanging, that you kind of like then pursue it.
Yeah.
I think like the idea of what we talked about too, so it's I think the combination of just that, the cardinal energy in the air and the head, that study idea. I think my Venus, my love of like that kind of study, that the higher learning, and then my Mars and Leo, all of that kind of puts together, like if I really stick to something, I will go 100% and I'll go all the way through to the end of it. But then at other times I'll start things and then kind of just like, oh, there they go, and forget about them. But
oh yeah, cardinal has ideas all the time, and they go herring off after them, and they start everything with bang.
Yep.
And then they get bored. And mutable can start off with a bang, but then they get distracted.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. And fixed, you got to have a cardinal prod to start anything, but they will, by God, finish it.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, going back to sort of what we said at the beginning, you can't actually say any of them are kind of better than any of the others. They've all got their plus and minuses. They're all on spectrums, and mutable energy, I think, makes life interesting. I think it makes life inclusive. Do you know what I mean? It makes it adaptable. I think the mutable energy helps you to sort of have experiences in life that that you might have missed out on. Yeah. It's kind of, I think it ticks a lot of boxes in a really, really positive way. And it really is, if you are kind of heavy on the mutable, think about whether you are being unreliable. which could be your sort of, it could be the thing that makes people not want to use you because you're unreliable.
And for those mutable, especially mutable people out there, I would like to say, our society, I'm not going to get all like zen on you or anything, but our society kind of expects us to all be a certain way. A 9 to 5 job or reliable job, or mutable energy, like excessive mutable energy, has a difficult time with that. So they beat themselves up thinking, I just can't do life.
Yeah.
I'm not doing life right because I'm not able to do what I'm taught I'm supposed to do since I'm born. There are other ways to make a living. You do not have to conform to everybody's idea of who you should be. You find something that you are passionate about with variety,
Yeah.
and you will be happy. I promise. You do not have to live the life of a Capricorn or a fixed person. And we are taught from kindergarten that we're supposed to be fixed, but
Yeah.
not all of us are. And our poor mutable people, excessive mutability, go through life miserable thinking that they're failures. They're not. They're living lives that they weren't born to live.
Mm. Yeah. Well said, Sharon. Yeah, because it is like totally true. And I think as long as the mutable person has one word that you said, variety, I think they'll find something that they can adapt and kind of like go for it in a great open-minded way on the good days, and give themselves rest on the bad days when the mutability just means they can't focus.
And just because the world tells you you're supposed to be something, you're supposed to be what you were born to be. That's all there is to it. We are not all the same. We are not, we variety. We're a variety of things. We're mutable as people.
Exactly. So if you are kind of like interested in this podcast and you would like to find out how mutable you are, please do get in touch with us. Okay. Yeah. We will sort of, if you go on our website, it will tell you all the readings and things we do. You can message us, whatever. Kevin, would you like to have sort of some parting words here?
Yes, I wanted to say about the mutability and about the variety that the Pomegranate Grove has. There,
and the reliability.
And reliability, yes. And yes, I don't know if you have never seen a podcast, then hi, I'm nice to meet you. You'll see me on them before. But I just about a year ago, I met with the Pomegranate Grove, and up till that point I had used all their YouTube videos, all of their card readings, and within a month and a half of watching those twice, I was able to just, I could sit down and do anything with any card. I could test. My husband would just say, this has this on it, and I could tell him what card it was, like that. It was so easy. And that was just their videos. Then I joined their Patreon, which has like 9 meetings a month. And I mean, depending on which one you go on, there's one that's just astrology, one that's just tarot, and one that's all, I'm in all of them. And so I'm like with them every, like twice a week, sometimes 4. But anyway, but like that's been about a year. But when I first started, I wasn't expecting to do much other than just learn the tarot because I wanted to do it. But then I went from that to being confident enough to reading for people and friends just casually, to then in like 9 months, I had done so much with their Patreon, which is like very cheap compared to what I mean, my gosh.
Inexpensive.
Inexpensive, yeah, not cheap, because cheap is not the right. It's worth hundreds of dollars. What I have learned, we were just talking about it. Like I've learned, like I've been studying for 1 whole year, but because I'm so cardinal and so driven, I have done years worth of study with their materials. And just I basically did what they have in their courses. They have lots of courses that you have. They can also do private lessons. And I've gotten readings from them. They do readings, and the events that they have during the month are all very educational. I learned so much. I ended up taking lessons, but not until like 10 months after I had been studying with all of their materials and the Pomegranate Grove, the Patreon group. But they have a card where you get mini readings. You can see how to read that way. Spreads of the month, Storyteller Cottage, where you get to practice reading with everybody, and it's a safe environment. They're wonderful people to hang out with. I can honestly say, if you want to learn how to read tarot, and in a good way, I went from thinking it was just fun and games to now being like, I'm going to do it for a bit of a career, and I'm going to help people with it, because it really, the way they teach it is it's very value creating, and I feel there's a lot of good to the readings that I do now because of how I've learned. So do all the stuff they have. They have their mailing list. They have everything. Come join us at the Pomegranate Grove Lounge. We post fun things. That's on Pomegranate Grove Lounge is on Facebook, and they're just wonderful.
Oh,
Aw,
thank you.
thank you. We love having you around.
We really
Well,
do.
I was
Yeah.
telling Mandy you're our fifth Beatle.
And I said, or you could say that it's Marie Osmond.
There you go.
So everybody, come play with us. Kevin's with us all the time. Come meet him. We love him. He is family.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Do join our newsletter, and you'll be entered in that drawing. Everybody who is a current member and all new members, of course, will be put in the drawing monthly for that free event. And that way you can come see what we're all about and hopefully stick around.
Yes. And we just wanted a little shout out to some of our other Patreons, who include obviously Kevin, Pavlina, who couldn't be with us tonight. She's usually here. Kath as well. She's recently come along to the podcast and she's not here tonight either. So don't know what's happened to her. But Dean, Ia, Joe, Danielle, Kelly, Maisie. Hopefully we'll get some more Patreons who want to have their names announced at the end of the podcast. So yeah, the more the merrier. But thank you very much for listening, and bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for engaging with us. Please like, subscribe and share. To book a personal, in-depth reading and to learn more about our incredible courses in tarot and astrology, please visit our website www.thepomegranate.grove.com.